Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to Midas Letter Live. I'm Ed Milewski, Special Ed Milewski, some people call me, and I'm joined today by my co-ed host, Nika, Domi.
And we're back. I'm Nika. I'm filling in for James as he's away, so we're going to have some fun today, even though the markets are maybe not having as much fun. But
I just noticed in the last an hour or so, flowers moved up about 10% on the day.
It did, just recently, I know.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that later, but then Oxley had big news today.
Yes, with the tobacco company.
Imperial Products is putting $123 million in. We're going to go into that at some length. Yeah, and I've just looked at the Midas Letter, the various indices.
Yes.
And there's 4 different categories. And a minute ago, the only one that was up was the big one, and then the other 3 were down. Now I just looked at it again, and 2 of the 3 small ones are up.
Yes.
And the big one's down a bit. So the things are moving around. It's not a unanimous day. In other words, not all of them are up, not all of them are down. So there's more.
Well, I guess it's because of the certain news that come in for some of them, right?
Yeah. This is what you'd expect after the sort of, the enthusiasm's worn off a bit. So now people are looking at things a lot more closely. In other words, they're saying, well, maybe what I'm in is there's better out there. So why don't I take, if I'm at all, buy a better company? And that's not the easiest thing in the world to do. So we're going to talk about a lot of these things. We're going to look at some charts.
Yes. We'll have some interviews.
We're gonna hear. So let's see what we're going to talk about specifically today. So we're going to have the news with Fraser Toms. The CEO of Beleave is going to be here. That's Bill Panagiotakopoulos. And Scott Patterson, an old friend of mine, is going to talk about his company, QYOU Media.
Awesome.
So there we go.
Exciting. And maybe we'll talk some about energy again.
We'll talk about positive energy. So here we're going to go right to Fraser Toms in the news.
Let's go to the news.
And here's your cannabis news for today. Dixie Brands announced a breakthrough in THC water solubility via proprietary emulsification technique, an ingredient management process offering marked improvements in uptake in cannabis-infused liquids. Dixie Brands will showcase the proprietary process via the launch of a new product line of flavored and unflavored drink additives called Fuse in the 4th quarter of this year. Dixie will also implement the new process across its existing line of award-winning beverages and tinctures. Oxley Cannabis announced that Imperial Brands will invest approximately $123 million in the company. The agreement is by way of convertible debenture and will grant Oxley Global license to Imperial Brands vaping technology and access to its vapor innovation business, Nerudia. Imperial Brands is an international consumer goods company born out of a strong tobacco heritage. Its next-generation products prioritizes the fast-growing vapor segment with proprietary technologies, including its brand, Blue. Cannara Biotech announced financial results for the 3- and 9-month periods ended May 31st, 2019. Net loss for 3- and 9-month period of $2.82 million or 1 penny a share. The company's net working capital position as of May 31st was $28.4 million. Cannara believes it will have sufficient revenues to cover operating costs once Cannara Ops receives its license and ShopCBD.com launches its e-commerce platform. Green Thumb Industries announced that it is one of only 3 companies to be awarded a new retail license by Culver City, located in Los Angeles County, California. National Access Cannabis has received 2 additional licenses from the Alberta Gaming, Liquor and Cannabis Commission to open cannabis retail stores in Alberta. The announcement comes from following the previously released news that the AGLC has lifted the moratorium on new cannabis retail licenses. High Tide announced that 3 of its Canna Cabana retail stores received their first deliveries of cannabis products from Alberta Gaming, Liquor and Cannabis Commission. The new Alberta stores bring the total number of Canna Cabana retail locations currently selling recreational cannabis to a total of 14 branded locations across Canada. Namaste Technologies has reached settlements of the securities class actions lawsuits that were commenced against the company in 2018. $2.15 million will be paid to settle all claims in the Canadian action, and $2.75 million will be paid to settle all claims in the U.S. action. Namaste's contribution to the settlement amounts, which are principally being funded by Namaste's insurance, will be less than $500,000 US. The settlements are made without any admission or finding of liability and are subject to court approval. And that's your news for today. Make sure to go to the Cannabis Daily on MidasLetter.com for more.
Well, the news, big news for Auxly.
Yeah.
Like they got Imperial Products to put in $123
million.
$120 million. The stock, which was sitting around in the 70-cent level, popped to 91. I'm going to get that up here now.
Yes, let's look at the stock.
Let's.
Yeah, I've been looking at Auxly for quite a while, but again, yeah, they've been a little bit underrepresented.
Yeah,
there.
but this is a very big deal. I will point out, though.
It is.
I will point out they have another debenture out there that they raised with the Bank of Montreal, I believe, that's due to be repaid in the not too distant future. So it looks to me, and again, I'm without looking at it closer, that this funding was necessary to have, so they had the money. And I think they have quite a bit of cash on their balance sheet, but $100 million has got to go back to pay off that debenture that they did a year ago.
Right.
So when that matures, they want their money back. If they don't, they can get in a lot of trouble. So it looks like they've done what they had to do so that they can pay the debenture holders off.
Okay. So that means they have some debt that they have to pay off.
Well, they had some debt, but that's right. Okay. Now that's
British. So this company, Imperial Brands, I'm reading here the Chronos Star.
Big company.
British tobacco giant.
Yeah.
And vaping technology.
There you go. So this is a strategic, and what the stock's showing. Did I put up a 6-month chart? But I think.
Yeah, let's see it.
Okay. So let's.
So is that their all-time high there, the M?
So no, it's been higher, but I'll put up another chart in a minute. But obviously, big support there. We bounced off it here, and it looks like we're bouncing off it here. And then the last couple days, we were trading at between 70, 75 cents, and then we popped up today to up in here. There's a big, well, it's a red candle. I mean, it's very positive news, obviously, for a major company to come in and do this deal.
Yes.
If this was done a year ago, this stock could have doubled easily. Like, there was so much more enthusiasm. There was so much more
Because this is another company. So again, our Chronos had Altria, which is the Marlboro tobacco company.
Right.
This one here is a London-based Imperial Brands.
Yeah.
That is a London British tobacco company.
Yeah.
And then we have Canopy, who has the beer company, the alcohol company.
Yeah. Constellation.
We have Hexo, who had a partnership with the beer company. So we do have
a few. If you're enjoying the show, subscribe to Midas Letter on YouTube.
A few big deals, and it seems like it's continuing because here we go, right? So.
Well,
I see it as a positive thing.
You know what? Maybe this is a poor comparison, but when the auto industry took off back, 125 years ago, Henry Ford, there were so many companies that were involved, but only a few survived, right?
Yeah.
Only a few. And I got to believe the same thing is going to happen here. The big ones will start to swallow up the ones that are well run.
Yes.
And they'll be able to, grow by acquisition.
So it's interesting. So right now we're seeing tobacco companies and we're seeing alcohol companies coming in.
Well, smoking marijuana, smoking cigarettes, drinking, they're all vices, right?
Yeah. They're the things people like to do.
We're not giving advice.
Yes.
We're giving vice.
And you know what else is interesting? I've been hearing that, it's probably a fact. I'm not exactly sure how much of a fact, but when when economies kind of die down or so, these industries seem to do well, right? Because when people are not in the best state of mind, I guess, or emotional state, that's when things like alcohol and tobacco and I guess drugs and that type of fun things to do to escape to.
Yeah.
They seem to hold up, right? So it's just.
Yeah, well, sure. I mean, the sin stocks, right? Like, you know what, people, they made alcohol illegal during the Prohibition era in the U.S. and people were drinking probably. Yeah. People want to drink, they're going to drink, right?
Yes, yes.
They want booze. So
it's been around since the olden times, right?
Just a note here on the day action. We gapped up on that news, which you would expect. Then it immediately sold off. There's the top.
Oxley.
And then we came down here, and now we're up in here, but we're not quite as high.
What date is that? Because I cannot see.
What date? That's today's action. That's just
today's.
That's just what happened. It opened up here. Yeah, it closed yesterday down in here somewhere. Okay, it opened up, so it was 20 cents higher than where it closed, which is a big move. But then it couldn't hold it. It's now churning through some stock in here. Again, the conditions are such that.
Yep.
The markets aren't as exuberant and they're not as willing to take on information in a positive way as they were
before.
Yeah,
because everybody's getting a little bit more conscious of what's going on.
People aren't
getting more picky, right?
Well, they're not so picky. They keep looking at the loss of value in their portfolios.
Yeah.
I mean, you have for instance, let's say you had a core position of CanTrust, and now it's a seventh of and this is 15% of the peak.
Yeah.
Or maybe not 15. Maybe that's.
I always say we got to improve the way we use our bodies in terms of intuition, because honestly, I felt so long ago that I just didn't feel right about CanTrust, and I never jumped back in. But sometimes we don't listen to our inner self, and we kind of look at, maybe there is hope. Oh, but look, the chart is down. Maybe I have this much upside, so this looks good. But the upside is not always the thing. And I know a lot of times also when I look at the chat rooms, and people say that, say for example, if I suggest a stock that's like $20, they say, oh no, that's too much. But maybe the $20 one might go, right? You never know.
Well, you have to look at.
If you look at the price.
You have to look at not just the price, but how many shares.
Yeah.
You have to take the value, multiply it by the number of shares, and get an enterprise value.
Because a lot of times from what I see people do is they will pick the cheaper stocks, and they don't think of the quality issue. They just look at like what's cheaper, and that's where they go in.
Yeah. Well, they say if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. So sometimes And Warren Buffett, he spoke and he said he used to want to buy the cheapest stocks, but now he'd rather buy a better company at an average price.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I've been.
Because the leaders, like if you look at it, the ones that are expensive, the Amazons, the FANG stocks, they're all great companies. They're all companies that are the leaders, so.
If you're enjoying the show, subscribe to Midas Letter on YouTube so you stay up to date on everything investment.
Beleave is an ISO-certified Canadian cannabis company that cultivates cannabis flower, oil, and extracts for medical and recreational markets. Beleave is fully licensed to cultivate and sell medical and recreational cannabis and is leading the way through research partnerships with universities to develop pharma-grade extracts and derivatives. Through recent partnerships, Beleave have expanded their presence to the growing South American and European markets. Beleave trades on the Canadian Stock Exchange under the symbol BE.
I'm joined now by Bill Panagiotikopoulos. He's the CEO of Beleave Inc., trading on the CSE under the symbol BE. Bill, welcome.
Hi, James. Thank you.
Bill, let's start with an overview. What is Believe's actual footprint in the cannabis industry?
Well, we started back in 2013 of one of the original cannabis companies to make our foray into this new exciting industry. We've built up quite an impressive library of intellectual property. We built out a facility. We grow actually about twice the industry average per square foot. We're doing really well. We're in 4 provinces. We have our extraction license for oils, one of the 24 or so companies that have that. And we're about to do a major expansion in our Hamilton facility.
And so Beleave products are available on the Ontario Cannabis Store?
So they are. What we have is our recreational brand, which is Seven Oaks,
okay.
Which is doing extremely well. And we just launched the Beleave branded products in the OCS and Saskatchewan earlier on this month.
I'm going to have to try them.
Please do.
Okay, so what kind of footprint have you got in terms of growth canopy, and how much are you producing in a given year?
So right now we have our original facility that we were building out. It's our whole facility is about 10,000 square feet of all space. Our canopy space is relatively small. It's about 2,000 square feet, but we're able to generate over 900,000 grams from that little footprint there. That yields, or that generates about $5 million of revenue a year, just out of our original test facility. It was just to prove out our concept, and it ended up becoming actually viable as a business. From there, we have our long anticipated expansion, phase 2 in Hamilton, which is 91,000 square feet, and that's gonna have a canopy space of about 57,000 square feet. So we're going from 2 to the 57,000 square feet. It may not be large in today's large LP standards, but what we are is we're really good at craft growing. We grow really small batches really well, and that's been, I guess, the way the market's accepted our product and keeps coming back for more of it, the way the provinces keep asking us for more product than we could ever produce, is a good sign. We're doing well on the grow and sale of the product.
Sure, yeah. I've actually heard just rumor-wise that Beleave is some of the better cannabis available out there, so that's great. Okay, so you're going to grow to 100,000 square feet. Now, what is your particular arcway to profitability look like?
So as in April of next year, 2020, we will have a positive EBITDA. We will actually be profitable. Right now, we're about break even, but in the new year, we will be doing exciting new things with the new facility, with taking on the rest of the provinces and doing our sell-through. We have an incredible team. They have redefined, in my opinion, what growing good cannabis actually is. And as the industry evolves, keep in mind, we have, very few stores right now, less than 300, or sorry, just over 300 across the whole country. You really need to come out with really good quality products so people remember you and want to come back to you. Just putting stuff out in the market in mass is going to hurt you in the long run, and we're really careful about that. We take pride in that.
Yeah, you bet. I'm curious as to whether you have any sort of global ambitions to like Europe, Latin America, United States.
So we accomplished ISO 9001 certification in our current Hamilton property, and we're going for our EU GMP, of course, to be able to export our oils and our dry flower cannabis to Europe. We have a partner in Germany that's helping us through the regulatory process there. We have interests in South America as well, but what we really want to focus on is the Canadian market right now, because it is the fastest evolving out of all the countries right now, and solidifying your footprint here helps to go global.
Do you envision focusing or participating any way meaningfully in the evolution of the Cannabis 2.0, as they're calling it here, the edibles and beverages?
Absolutely. We actually are launching 4 new products products this fall and in December, of course. The vape pen market, which is the highly anticipated, very lucrative market, we will be in that. We're looking at a powder and a pill, which is novel right now in the industry. What we did is one of the IPs, the intellectual properties that we've been working on for the last 3 years, is a co-crystallized cannabinoid that is, along with an excipient, makes it extremely water soluble and makes it dosable. So you can actually dose this, that properly dose it. And you could take this, what we're going to offer is in a cap and in a, it'll look like a sugar packet. So you can carry this around and take it to wherever you want. You want to add it to your tea, your coffee, your water, your sports drink, pancake mix, muffin mix. It becomes now an additive. It's an ingredient. It's food grade, and it works really well. Odorless, colorless. It's one of the most exciting aspects of Beleave, in my opinion.
Great. What kind of brand evolution are you looking at in the long term? Like, do you guys have you're going to have another 100,000 or 90,000 square feet? Are you going to evolve more brands? Or are you going to focus on distributing the brands you've got now to a broader audience?
James, honestly, we can't even keep up with the demand right now. What I'd really like to do is actually satisfy the demand that we have for our Seven Oaks and Beleave products, and then really focus on maybe further brands. But for right now, we really want to satisfy the market, our customers, and say, here, guys, we have more products for you. Enjoy it.
That's a great attitude. I wish more growers had it. Okay, Bill, we're going to leave it there for now. We'll come back to you very, very soon. And thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
Nika, that was a great interview with Bill Panagiotopoulos, the CEO of Beleave.
Beleave.
Quite I got a name that's not easy to pronounce, but my hat's off to Bill.
We know how our European names are, right?
Yeah, for sure. Everybody wants to pronounce a W like a but when it's really like a V or an
V.
F.
So the Polish W or the European W is like a V for sure.
Well, let's look at some charts.
I'll
put some charts, and then if you have any questions, and feel free. I'll just I'll start.
We have some in mind, right?
Yeah, we got some here. And first, what I'm going to do is I just got to keep looking at trust, only because everybody's interested. Not much difference here. It's just sitting here. It's not showing any strength. Okay.
Did it go lower today?
A little bit, but it's got a nice. Actually, it's got a nice green candle. Let me, before we do that, there we go. I want to.
Hi there. How you doing? Nice to see you.
Yeah. So look, the breakdown yesterday, and now a red candle, a green candle. Look, a lot of this is going to be dealt with when Health Canada comes out and gives their ruling.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything from Health Canada yet.
The big thing is now they know that management knew about these unlicensed grow rooms, and you can imagine the U.S. investors in that last round. They raised $195 million or some very large amount.
Wow.
At a $550 U.S. and I think the stock's probably. Okay, so that's that. We'll move along.
We'll keep a watch on that one.
Yeah. Okay.
The news came today about Auxly.
We're gonna do a separate. We're gonna talk about Auxly in length later because there was a significant item. Okay. I'm gonna take a look at weed here. Let me find this.
Canopy. I can't wait till I find out.
I always say weed, but it's not weed, is it? It's canopy growth.
Canopy growth. Can't wait till we find out who's going to be the next CEO.
Yeah, well, right now it's interim. Looks like we got it here at 46.62, up 7 cents. It was higher, but this last candle today, got a pretty big wick on it right now. Anyway, it got to almost $48 and then sold off. It looks like it's trying to build something here. We've had a big correction. I think it's more of wait and see, and we're not going to get any. You just wonder what the next event will be.
Yeah, waiting for it. Well, I guess everybody's kind of curious, just like I am.
Yeah. I mean, but I guess everybody's sort of talking about, what are the impact of when edibles get legal, right?
Right.
And so that's coming in supposedly December, but the rumors are it won't be now until January.
Oh my.
But I don't, again, they're rumors, right? So let's leave it at that. Let's take a look at OH.
What's next? Origin House, Kenner Royalty.
Yeah.
So here we're also waiting for the partnership to clear with Cresco Labs.
Yeah, I'll put up both of them, see what they look like.
And that the last time I saw any news from
Okay, there's the
from
chart
this one
of
is,
Origin House.
yeah, they're waiting for that clearance from the antitrust.
Right, in other words,
Yeah.
to see if the merger will go through.
Yeah.
Right, and right now, this is a 3-month chart, and this stock was as high as 12 or 13.
It was.
And now, if you look at it, that's the peak. I mean, this is like almost a 45-degree angle from
Yeah.
top left to bottom right.
Yeah.
In other words,
I wonder if that started going down when that news came about the antitrust weight.
and you can see it deviates. When it deviates from a sort of a moving average trend, so that's sort of the trend. It deviated here, and then it popped above it. Okay, but it's not really showing anything significant. So we've come down.
They did say that they have, I guess, like they're looking at a couple months for this to
These
come
things
through.
can take a long time, and I think now that we've had some issues in the space, they're going to even look at it even,
Exactly,
right?
possibly, yeah.
Sure.
But it's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, they keep talking
Yeah.
about that one as being one of the.
I see it definitely. People have a positive sentiment towards the company. From what I see online, is just that weight that's kind of slowing things down, and yeah.
Look at this. This is another 3-month chart. It's almost identical chart.
And who's this?
This is the other company, Cresco.
Cresco Labs, which is the one that they are waiting to
Yeah, they're
merge
gonna,
with.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, they're going to move. They're almost going to move in lockstep
Almost together, exactly.
because of the. Again, there's the trend, and we went below the trend and then we went above it. But got to be careful what I draw because sometimes people get the wrong impression here. Just saying. Anyway, let me get rid of that. Okay.
What's next?
We're going to look at Chronos.
Chronos.
You like Chronos?
I like Chronos. I feel they're a strong company, and that,
Lots of
again,
cash,
they
right?
have
Lots of cash.
which, yeah, definitely. I think I am personally waiting for some news from them. I feel like they've been kind of quiet a bit.
Okay, so Chronos is just under 20. So in this 3-month period, I got to be like, there's not much here.
Yeah,
I can,
they've been hovering around the $20 mark.
but it looks like it's stable.
Every time I look, they're either a little bit under 20 or just a little bit over 20.
So look at there's tradable moves here, but really in the last 3 months it's gone from there to there, which is like maybe a loss of 10% from the 22, 23 level here
Yep.
to around.
Myself personally, I see Chronos will probably start moving when we get closer to the fall and
With the
summer kind of clears away.
and the edible are they going to be big in the edible area? Probably. You would think with the tobacco company.
I'm not sure if they have anything going on. I didn't look at those news, but I know that they have
Sure.
something with the synthetic cannabinoids. They were doing something like that, I think.
Right.
No, they were doing something in Israel, but again, I'm not exactly sure right now. So
I'm going to put up a.
so many things to remember.
Look at it. And I've been, following these things, but there's so many of these companies. It's hard to keep track.
It's hard
to keep track.
Who's got what? Yeah.
And every time somebody goes in, it dilutes the space because there's only so much money that
There's
can go in.
hundreds of companies.
And there's more and more companies. And I think a lot of these new ones they're trying to go public, it's going to get more difficult.
Yes.
Because, you know, I just saw a company used to be called High Hampton. It's now. Well, let's put up that. Let's put up
Mojave Jane.
Mojave Jane. Let's put that up because
Mojave Jane.
you know they're in the middle of raising money, and okay, this for some reason they don't have the new symbol up here. So let's go back to the old symbol.
And hello to everybody in the chat room in the meantime. I saw everybody's comments, and as Ed's getting ready, I want to shout out a couple people. I saw some comments from.
I can't find the. They changed the symbol.
And a couple people there from the Twitter and from my chat room, my WhatsApp group. So.
All right.
Want to say hello. We got it.
You know what? It's a
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
That's why I'm not doing this.
Okay, so here we are, C21 Investments. Okay.
Okay, CXXI.
CXXI.
The famous.
So we were 3 months ago. 3 months ago, we were at roughly $1.60, $1.70.
Down.
It got down to about 70 cents. So a big drop again. We're seeing a trend repeated. We're going from top left to bottom right. So there's weakness, and every time there's bad news in the industry, it just makes
It's just pulling everyone down. Exactly. They did have CXXI did rise a little bit yesterday and today, so there was like a little sign of, they're trying to. Get going.
I've been looking at charts for a long time. When prices go more than about 40% of their high, like let's say it's stock hit $10 and now it's under $4 to $4.5. It's like the stock gets busted because there's so many people in higher. That acts as a resistance to it to move. It's so difficult for a stock that goes all the way down to come all the way back.
Let's talk about Aurora. Recently, your financials, you more or less delivered on.
Here are the headlines moving markets today.
If you're lucky to buy it 3 days ago at 37 cents,
and I think it has a lot to do with some of these smaller names giving really.
Recreational cannabis is here. It's quite dry. So I'm going to eliminate the stocky bits.
So next, James caught up with Scott Patterson from QYOU Media, and here's the interview.
I'm here at Pat Camp on Lake Joseph in the heart of Muskoka, and I'm here with Scott Patterson, who is the chairman of QYOU Media. Scott, welcome.
Good to see you.
Or actually, you should say welcome to me since I'm in your house.
Welcome to Pat Camp. Great to have you here, James.
Scott, quick overview. What is it that QYOU Media does?
QYOU Media is a very exciting company. What we do is we curate the best of YouTube. But we're very focused on one market. We have other businesses, but the main focus and the main huge upside potential with QYOU Media right now is happening in India. Now, not a lot of people that aren't focused on India are maybe aware of what's happening in India, but it is the most sought after place for all entertainment companies in the world. Reed Hastings, the CEO of Netflix, said a year ago, the next 100 million subscribers to Netflix are going to come from India. Disney, Lionsgate, Turner, et cetera, are very focused in India, and that's where we're focused.
Sure. Okay, so how do you monetize a curated subset of the best of YouTube?
So, we learned the hard way, actually. We developed initially what we called an international feed. We took the best of YouTube, not the most popular, that's easy, you can just go on YouTube and get it, but the kind of undiscovered stuff. This would be, the cool guy on the skateboard bouncing car after car and maybe flying off a mountaintop, who knows, and in different...
Cool small cap market commentators from Canada.
Exactly. But a lot of really fun things. Another discovery mechanism for the Gen Zs and for the millennials. That's our focus. But we had it wrong. I mean, that's the only way to say it. We were trying to deliver kind of English language driven content and English mindset content to the rest of the world. When we went into India and we saw what was happening there with the population and with the millennials and with the YouTube market in India, we went, holy smoke, let's localize this. So our channel, Q India, is 100% Indian. Hindi right now, which is about 40% of the entire market of over 1 billion people. We are now on, as of this morning, about 380 million devices in India.
Wow.
And before the end of this year, based on contracted and handshakes, we'll be on about 1 billion devices with our channel Q India.
Interesting. So how does that translate into Q-on-Q revenue going forward, look forward, say, 36 months?
Well, you know, as I mentioned, we kind of stumbled a little bit when we first launched the company. The idea was great, but we just really had to do local content that was going to really be successful in that market. For example, we have Q Polska, which is doing very well. But I just want to stick with India because it's the one with this massive potential if we get this right. So I think we put out a press release recently, and we'll have revenue somewhere in the $1.4 million, $1.5 million for the quarter just ended June 30th, 2019. Virtually none of that's India. That's in other businesses. And what I'm saying to you, the future of the company and the upside is all about India. Meanwhile, our market cap's in this $11, $12 million range. And while I'm not giving you guidance or wouldn't want any investor to rely upon this, and I don't say that to kind of hedge my bets too much, it's just too hard to predict.
Sure.
But we think it's not unreasonable to think that we can't generate $1 million a month out of India, say 2 years from now. How do you generate that? Ad revenue. So what we did is we went to the Geo. You've probably never heard of it. Almost 300 million cell phone subscribers on Geo in India, and said, here's our channel Q India. It's very cool. It's all this hip stuff appealing to your millennial and your Gen Z audiences, a mobile carrier, and they said, we love it. But guess what, Geo? You get 50% of our ad revenue. So this is why we've been able to get so much carriage. So the big picture was a very simple philosophy. Create the content that people want to watch. This is what really sells in India. Get the distribution platform. You know, keep in mind what Canadian numbers would be. One of the big platforms, Bell or Rogers, having 10 or 12 million customers would be a massive number, obviously. We're talking today just under 400 million devices Q India is on, and on its way to 1 billion devices. We're also on Tata Sky, which is a satellite provider, Bharti DTH, that is a satellite provider. We are imminently going to be on Bharti's Wink program. That is, if my number is correct, it's about 300 million subscribers, and then Vodafone, which is 400 million subscribers. Again, we don't get paid unless we sell ad revenues against that. We just completed putting the ad insertion technology in place so we can put an ad in place. And just last month, we sold our first ad. Nothing, $10,000, but I'm doing a backflip because now we've got the content, we've got the distribution, and now we're going to go and generate, we think, very, very, very substantial ad revenues.
Okay, so is it safe to categorize Q then as an ad-driven media company?
Yes, but the emphasis is on the audience. You know, the emphasis is millennials and Gen Z and influencer marketing. We just did our first influencer marketing campaign in India. So an audiobooks company wanted to sell audiobooks. We created a campaign including some of the top Indian talking heads on YouTube who are really proud to be on our channel, and they got behind Facebook and other activities taking place in India from an influencer marketing perspective. As you know, influencer marketing is influencing everything. Part of your world is influencer marketing and how you think and breathe what you do with your business. So we you know, and just so you know, we're not a bunch of kind of country bumpkins hoping we can succeed in India. You know, our chairman of Q India is Andy Kaplan, came from Sony, was president of Sony Pictures Television International, somebody I met through my Lionsgate Entertainment relationships over the years, incredibly well regarded in India. Our people on the ground, Sundar Aaron, who runs the business there for him, incredibly well respected. So we've really got talent and people that are respected in India.
Sure. Okay, so let's focus on that a bit. The people involved. You yourself actually have made quite a career out of media and technology over the last 2 decades. Lionsgate notwithstanding, there's other things that you did even before that. Jump TV you recently sold for quite a nice figure.
much of what we're doing with Q Media reminds me of Jump TV. Thanks for remembering the name. Back in 2005, I co-founded Jump TV. We went public in 2006. The premise was to stream international content. So I've always had this interest in international content and what was going to happen in the domestic markets and the diaspora markets. By the way, we're doing that with Q Media too. You'll see us soon start to offer Q India in places like Toronto, New York, where there's this big diaspora. And it would be the local carriers that would show that and hopefully attract an audience there. Jump TV is an interesting story. Morgan Stanley took us public back in 2006. The premise was to stream media, which, here you do this for a living. Back in 2006, the internet was 95% text. Streaming was a very new concept. And just to give you the milestone, the iPhone's not invented until 2008, and we went public in 2006 with the premise of streaming live video. The iPad not until 2010. We then acquired and merged with a company called New Lion, Neullion, and last year I was very proud to tell you that business was sold to Endeavor. Endeavor owns IMG and William Morris Endeavor. It's a major company out of Los Angeles for $250 million US. So I feel like we're reliving some of the things that we learned many years ago, and hopefully avoiding some of the mistakes that made it take a little bit longer before the success came.
Sure. So how does the whole Indian story ramp over the timeline? Like, is it imminent? Is it going to take years to build? What's the story?
We all think of overnight successes, and the truth is they take years, whether it's a person's career or whether it's a business. In my view, I've had this philosophy forever. You're spending years building a core competency as a business or a person, and then all of a sudden it goes like that. What's really happened is you were slightly ahead of your time, all the building blocks were in place, and if your macro thesis is right, that's when it takes off. And that's what I think we have in Q Media. Listen, our stock's been punished. We kind of let it go to where it wanted to go because we failed initially. It's a 7, 8, 9 cent stock price today, which is embarrassing in some respects, but roll up your sleeves, never give up, dig in, and in this case, double down. I am so excited about India, and to your point, I think when the market starts to see, wow, they are going to deliver real revenue out of this Q India ad partnership relationship, and we're adding the number of eyeballs every month at the same time, you have that combination, and people are going to look at our market cap and say, holy smokes. And I personally believe that if we look out a couple of years from now, we get to that $1 million a month in revenue, we'll have the kind of footprint that a major media company might be very interested in saying, wow, inside of our grand footprint, think of what we could do with that.
Sure. So what are the big milestones you're going to hit in the year ahead to really capture the growth?
Well, I think the most important thing is for us to execute on what we're saying we're going to do with the continued distribution footprint, meaning going live on Bharti Wink, going live on Vodafone, taking what's now, we just went live on Sony Live. Sony has an OTT service in India. This is what I mean. All the biggest players in the world are focused on India right now. ZTV, if you're Indian watching this, you'll know who ZTV is. You are global. ZTV has launched us. We're on 50 million ZTV, or 50 million people with the ZTT over-the-top bouquet have access to our content today. It doesn't mean they're all watching it. Our job is to get it become viral and it's fun for the kids to watch it. So execute on our way to 1 billion devices that have our content, and then get into that branding world. And again, if you read about advertising in India, it's literally going like this. It is one of the few markets in the world that is exploding. Also in television. Everywhere else in the world there's cord cutters, not in India. It's actually going like this. Now we're mostly mobile focused, but we're also on satellite and cable and other types of carriers as well. And so we've got to do that, and the influencer marketing. I mean, these are, as you know, they're becoming blurred and blended between conventional sponsorship and influencer marketing. And in the United States, we recently won an award for influencer marketing. That's really where the rest of our current revenue comes from. So we think we're really good at that. And as we continue, I think, people are going to wake up at some point in the next few months and go, holy crap, what the heck's happening there? And all of a sudden, this stock could be, many, many times what it currently is.
Sure. All right, Scott, that's a great update on the company. We'll leave it there for now and come back to you soon. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
Safe Banking Act.
Okay. Scott Patterson's always entertaining guy to listen to, and they're very informative. And the one thing about Scott is he never gives up. And we were just listening to him talk about QYOU.
And the media.
Yeah. No, he's a very dynamic guy, gifted speaker. I've had the pleasure with working with him, 20 odd years ago.
And he was at the Halo party at the Wine Academy, wasn't he?
No, he was not.
Oh, somebody looked like him then.
Well,
then he has a twin.
There you go.
I have a twin, because I could have sworn he was there.
When they made Scott, they broke the mold. There's no twin. There's no.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, shout out to Halo Labs. Thank you for the
So we're gonna go over some of the companies that you and I that we know about in the and you were gonna mention something about Aurora.
Yes, I just actually saw Kim Batley posted on Twitter about their deal. It's something to do with the UFC. So they've made I made some notes. Sorry, it's called Roar Sports, ROAR CBD.
Okay, so it's
a sports brand, and I didn't get a chance to read up about it because I just saw it posted. But if anybody wants to kind of check that out, it's called Roar Sports CBD, and it's tied with the UFC sports. So that's very interesting.
There you go. So here we have
find out more about it.
About legitimate sports and legitimate CBD. Well, we'll see what happens.
Well, we have to get creative. Not me, because I don't own a cannabis company, but as a sector, I guess, we have to get creative, and this is definitely a creative thing. So it can't be, it's definitely positive too. So.
Yeah, so I'm just, here we go here. I'm having a difficulty getting
so while you fix the difficulty, I wanted to say hi to some of my friends here. And so Ivan Black is here, and Shivet, and James knows how to pronounce it. It was so funny. James knows how to pronounce her name. Shivet Ketokastik Baffanini is here, and she's always supportive, so thank you for being here. Who else is here? I know Justin from California was here. He's an actor, actually, so he's a very respected supporter of mine. And Midas Letters. Mary Kemp, Carl Bowden, how's it going? Joseph Lee, Daniel Santini, and Mike. And I had Joseph Lee actually said that, he says, thanks for sharing your mindset. It's a great reminder on believing in your success. So I really, that's the type of stuff that I really love to hear, and that's why I'm here, because I want to bring a lot more positivity to our minds, because, especially now that things are kind of slow in the summertime, we tend to fall into that dark hole of negativity, and then we forget about it when things start running again. And then when things start running again, we forget about how we felt so negative just a little bit while ago. So it is a zone that's easy to get kind of pulled into. And we have to keep watching ourselves, keep watching your emotions, and get a hold of them. So, thank you, Joseph, for definitely checking out the stuff I was talking about the psychology and energy.
I'm going to talk about. I want to talk about Flower Corp for a minute.
Let's talk about Flower Corp.
FLWR is the ticker. We've got a chart up here, a 6-month chart. I'm going to make it a little shorter here, so that's a 1 month. But what I wanted to point out here, actually, I'm going to go back to the 3 month because it looks. So we've seen the stock drop quite a bit from here, and it got down to just under $4 here, and they said basically they were going to scrap a funding for convertible debenture, and then immediately the stock jumped back up to just over $5 here, and then they announced the next day the stock got halted and a bought deal was announced. A bought deal is a funding whereby the underwriter takes the liability and says we'll get you the money. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. A bought deal, so it's done. So, but the stock is showing a nice green candle. So maybe, just maybe. This area in here, we've had a big drop. It might be, you might want to look at this. This company's generating quite a bit of revenue and it's growing. They're just raising $42 million through their funding. this may be something to look at because it's down, a fair amount from where it was.
So they do.
And I have purchased their product at one of the Ontario stores.
Oh.
And I found it to be quite acceptable.
Good.
Just saying.
Very nice.
Okay.
You tried it out.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And now you say there's a lot of people asking about Ianthus.
Yeah, I did see a lot of talk about Ianthus because of the price that they're at right now. It's just the stock is quite low, and it's kind of not easy, I guess, to figure out why, because a lot of people had some high expectations. I was actually in the stock when they were merging with MPX, and I was very happy with that transaction. It went smoothly as far as I'm concerned, and I did benefit from that. But after, I've noticed that, and I'm sure everybody noticed, it started kind of, weakening a bit,
Yeah.
and now it's quite low.
Well, now I got a 6-month chart up on Ianthus, and yeah, wow, I haven't really been paying that much attention, but we've this is 6 months, but look at this from here. Look at this. So that's pretty. That's severe. I mean, the stock was $7 a few months ago. 4 months ago,
Yep.
and recently it hit 320.
So that's when I was in it, when it was at 7, and I sold it when they merged with the MPX. I kept the MPX, and then later I also sold that one because it also went down. And I don't notice a lot of talk about MPX, but there was some recent news as well. They have a separate one. They have the MPXI for America and MPX for Canada, I believe. I don't know. To me, I'm a little confused when I hear so many tickers, right, associated with one company. So I guess we'd have to look into.
Yeah, we're seeing a theme here. Like in the
Mm-hmm.
last few months, we've had erosion. We've had substantial erosion, and selling leads to selling. Until we have some kind of climactic event that's going to change the thing around, it seems like some of the volatility is being sort of wrenched out of this. And a lot of 3-4 month charts just look up there's a slope of 45 degrees from top left to bottom right. A rising tide lifts all boats, and a falling tide does the opposite. I noticed too today that Tilray, which was an unbelievable
Tilroy.
performer, hit $300 on a short squeeze move.
I don't think anyone will forget that.
Well, I see it today down to close to $40, and that's still quite a bit. That's still quite a bit higher than the issue price. But let's just take a look at that because I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah. There. So this is a 2-year chart. We can just put that up. There you go. So there's look at this move again. This is what you call a exponential blow off move, blow off top, and then believe it or not, that's about half of what this is. So we've been moving slowly to the side. I think this deal was originally done at around $18 or $20. So there's still lots of profit there for original shareholders. And now we're sitting here right around, looks like about 41.80 or something like that. These exponential moves, they don't end well. They happen, and when they happen, you have to recognize that's I don't even know what to say. Which is difficult.
Let's look at something else.
What's that?
Let's look at another one.
We're going to look at, a company that you brought to my attention, but Acasti Pharmaceutical.
Acasti Pharma. It's interesting because I came across them last year when I was kind of just looking through things, and as I stumbled upon Neptune, I also saw the name Acasti, so I kind of started digging in on who they are, and I was impressed by the fact that they were a small company who is a Canadian company. They're a biopharma, and they deal with extraction. It's omega-3s, I believe.
Yeah, they're trying to. I guess omega-3 is the thing that you want to. Apparently, it does a lot of good to you, right?
Oh yeah. Well, you can't.
You know,
really,
like they talk about omega-3 eggs. They talk. This is good cholesterol, right? This is all.
It's definitely healthy, and so their only competitor that has a similar type of drug is Amarin. And Amarin is a company that's trading, I think, around like $18 or $20.
Sure.
So they have a very similar thing going, but I think there was something that makes Casti unique, and I think it's because they use the fish oil.
Krill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I think like in Norway, for instance, apparently they take a shot of fish oil every day, and they swear by it. They say it's one of these magic elixirs that provide you with all kinds of benefits.
It is. I'm actually vegetarian myself, but I do actually take omega. So
would you eat a piece of fish?
I have a story with fish.
Okay.
I was actually poisoned by a fish when I was little, so I guess since then it's been a little bit of a bad taste for me. But I'm trying slowly to get
fish
into
might have left a bad taste in your mouth.
Exactly.
That's a joke.
I actually nearly died, so I mean, we could laugh. But it was interesting. And since then, I just haven't. Did you have
a reaction, or was the fish? Was it bad fish?
No, it was bad fish. It was one of those at the vacation stand, like on your vacation when you go away to the beach and stuff.
And how old were you when that happened?
I think I was like maybe 6 or 7 or so.
And since then, no fish.
No.
No fish for you.
And I haven't ate meat since I was 16. So.
Really? No meat. No meat. What about nuts?
And I couldn't feel better. But I do take the omega, and I'll tell you why. Because when I was in school, especially, it helps your mind work better. So I'm all about the mind. You know that. So it helped me get through.
Interesting. I'm going to just quickly look at the indices here. I'm just going to make a quick look at my notes. We should say hello to our sponsor, Halo Labs.
Well, I did. Now it's your turn.
There it is, right there. See?
Yep.
Wait a minute. No, I can't.
You got it.
And the website is halocanna.com. So we got the chart here. We just jumped around a bit, but I wanted to get back to what is it, a Casti?
Right. Look how we get off the topic. We could talk forever. We need a longer show.
so look, this stock's $1 and change here.
Yeah.
This
so
is
I bought it at a couple of weeks ago. I bought it at I came across it again because I've been watching it since last year. But I found it in my old notes, just going through it about a month ago, and I bought it again at $1.60. And today it hit 320.
320. But remember, we talked about it being oversold. Like it's well through the Bollinger, and
it's been running for a few good days.
The RSI got to 70. Close to 80, I think, or close. It was way up there. Anyway, we'll get a little correction here.
And so sorry to interrupt you, why I was interested in this, because they have a catalyst coming in December. Not only that, they have a really big, I'm just going to tell you exactly what they have really big players invested in as recently. So this article here in Seeking Alpha said Oppenheimer's report says they initiate, $7 price target.
You're saying Oppenheimer has a $7 price target for this company?
That's what Seeking Alpha says. Yep.
Yeah.
And
who
else is the?
You mentioned.
Acutus now owns 10% of the stock, and I know there was some other big investors that are in this stock.
Neptune owns a big chunk. We don't know, not sure the amount, but. Look, when you see bigger institutions around something like this is what you want to see.
Yeah.
I'm watching this very closely going forward. I think it's still overbought. I think it could come out in the next few days.
Yes.
If it gets down here a little bit, I think I'm going to start accumulating.
It's probably at the top of my list right now.
And I guess they're going to have some phase 3 results come out in December. So and I spoke to a gentleman that's very, very well versed in this area, a friend of ours, Brad Miles. And he said this could be very significant for these results.
Yeah.
But it's like a one-off. If the results aren't good, then what? Back to the drawing board.
And I want to like kind of mention how I came across it was really by chance, and sometimes we come across something, we look at it, we forget about it, and look, I forgot about this stock for probably since the last fall until maybe a month ago.
Take some of their krill oil, you may not forget about things. Just
a good one.
Well, folks, it's that time.
What time?
It's time to say goodbye.
No.
It's
4. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
See how time flies
I know,
here?
time flies when you're having
fun. We need
fun.
a longer show.
Yeah, there's a bell.
Click like, everybody. Click like. And we're going to be back tomorrow.
Hit the bell in the top right corner. Is it the top right corner? I think it is. Yeah, I don't have to follow it because I'm in it.
Top right corner on YouTube. Follow, click like, support us, and we'll be back tomorrow.
We'll be back tomorrow.